Right guys, so part 3 in the nutrition webinar series we're doing. This one, truth about carbs, so basically everything kind of carb related. It's one of these things that a lot of people believe are the worst thing in the world, but it's not, and we're kind of going to go over that. Again, the slides are getting better as time goes on, they're not just playing anymore. Right, so overview. We're going to just kind of go through what carbs are, a wee bit more detailed in week 1, what the differences between the different types are, why low carb does actually work, and why you shouldn't really do it, or not even shouldn't do it, but reasons that I would never do it. We'll never do it again. We'll be covering, is sugar really that bad for you? Sugar's one of these topics that is always going around. It's in the media, it's in magazines, it's everywhere, and it's always being demonised, and you're getting told it's the worst thing. There's conflicting opinions on both sides, but I've got a pretty solid argument against it. We're going to go over sort of why carbs should make up the majority of your diet, benefits for them, why you should maybe kind of think twice about cutting them out, and then going to go over some common carb myths and why basically they're a whole load of bullshit. 2 seconds. Right. So what are carbs? Carbs, as we know, are one of the macronutrients, along with fat and protein. At them, sort of a very basic look at carbs and a breakdown. It's just carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen grouped together in different sort of collections. They're all grouped together to make saccharides. Basically, saccharides join up to make different types of carbs. So you get monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides, right? So basically, the mono and di are more or less sugars, and as they get more complex, they become more, as the name suggests, complex carbs. It's just a different order and more grouped together, saccharide molecules. So that leads on. You've got the complex and simple types. Basic look at it: sugar and starch, and 9 out of 10 times carbs are fucking delicious. So that's what they are. Right. So different types. We've got simple carbs and complex carbs. Both can be found in different types. Simple carbs are usually associated with sugars and sweets and cakes and baked things, and more or less all your bad carbs, as they're usually called, which isn't necessarily the case. Simple carbs are basically just sugars. They get absorbed quicker than their sort of complex counterpart. It's really fast energy. Your body's able to break them down pretty quickly because they are ready to be absorbed and used as energy almost instantly. So if you've ever been in a situation where you have been training, for example, and maybe towards the end of the session you're feeling a wee bit whitey, a wee bit kind of foggy, a wee bit wobbly, what you'll probably find is me or Grant will probably try and get a hold of some sugar to give you, and you'll pick up like that. You'll maybe like 10 seconds after eating it, you're kind of starting to feel a wee bit more normal. We usually kind of go down the route of fruit or sort of Lucozade, something that's pretty high sugar. Now again, that's simple carbs, and fruit's not bad for us. It's just it's a different type of carb. So it's kind of very narrow-minded of some people to kind of advise cutting out simple carbs because there is a lot of benefit to having them in your diet. So you've got obviously the fast energy that can kind of pick you up. Sugar's vital, a vital part of your diet, as we're going to talk about later on. So there's little to no starch. Your body doesn't really need to do anything to make something from it. And also it's a kind of light option. So like say after your workout, say you're feeling horrid, you're going to want something quick, something not that heavy. So I don't know about you, but eating like a big ton of mashed potatoes straight after a workout, it's a bit too heavy. It'll sit down there and just make you feel worse. That's just me anyway. So comparing that to complex, you've got complex carbs are a wee bit slow release. The only reason they're slow release is because they sit in your stomach for a wee bit longer. they take a bit more time to break down. So they give that sort of filling feeling. Because they take a wee bit longer to break down and into sort of glucose for your body to use. Again, it's just a wee bit slower to come out. Usually, complex carbs have got a lot higher fibres. Again, that can be looked in general. That is when you take into consideration weights of certain foods like raspberries are pretty high fibre compared to the amount of weight that's in them. Whereas you compare that to mashed potato will trounce it in fibre just because it is a more complex carb, right? So other benefits or differences between the two: complex carbs are really good at aiding your quality of sleep. You wouldn't necessarily go and munch a lot of sugar before your bed. Basically, you'll get a wee pick me up and you might struggle to sleep. So whereas if you have complex carbs with your dinner, because they're slow release, kind of preps you for your bed and you kind of feel a wee bit dozy. Best example of that is maybe Christmas dinner. That kind of moment you've had that much like sort of mashed potatoes and sort of more complex carbs that you're sitting on the couch and you just kind of go into a carb coma. Digestion as well. But again, that's down to the sort of fibre side of things. So this is just a wee slide on why low carb works, because it's always one of these things that people you bash it's always an argument going on. Low carb, no half carbs, low carb. Nobody really takes the time to go back and go, it does actually work, but here's the pros and cons of doing it. Right, so reasons low carb will work. There's a few kind of points to this. So obviously, if you minimise your carb intake and you don't replace it with sort of excess protein or fat, you're going to be consuming a lot less calories. So you're going to be in that deficit that we're always talking about. You're going to be burning more energy than you're intaking, which will result in sort of losing a wee bit of weight. Low carb diets as well. You've got that most people that do go on a low carb diet automatically increase their protein intake, just to kind of fill their plates. And because you've not got that side option, it's just the option is to add more meat or more veg. Most people will go for more meat. And again, when you do that, you're going to feel a lot fuller. So you're not going to be snacking as much. You're going to be feeling a wee bit fuller. And again, you're not going to turn to, it's bring you back into a deficit basically. Right? So less snacking, that's all that's going to result in. Your low carb, more protein, again, less hunger. Right, so there's another thing as well, like low carb works really, really well for getting a quick result. Like there's no doubt about it. You'll find a lot of people that do go on a low carb or cut carbs out completely. You'll find that they come into work the next day and they go, oh my god, I've lost so much weight. And you're like, cool, I don't really care, I'm going to sit and munch my chocolate with my lunch. But the reasons for that is around all our muscles we get this stuff called muscle glycogen, right? Basically just kind of causes our muscle to work effectively, give it its stored energy, more or less. And with that stored energy comes sort of, it stores water around it as well. Okay, so I think all in all, this is just rough figures. I think if you were to go and cut carbs out, you more or less. Guys, can I just confirm that everyone can hear me? Hello? Guys, can everyone hear me, yeah? Don't know what happened there. Just put a wee yes or no in the box. Yeah. Where did I get to? What was the last thing I said there? carb free. The whole thing's about carbs, calm. Anyway, I'll just start. I'll start kind of what was I saying? We were talking about sort of muscle glycogen. To just get up to that, I'll go over that again. Usually, like when people cut out carbs, you'll get the kind of show offs coming into work saying, "Oh, I've dropped so much weight." By not eating carbs, basically that's the reason they've lost weight. It's not the deficit they put themselves in, and sometimes they can actually still not be in a deficit. They're just depleting what's called muscle glycogen, which kind of help. Like you'll have heard people talk about water weight. This is down to that's part of the reason of the loss of water weight. I think on average, something like people can lose quite a bit. Like you're talking maybe 1.5 kilos around about there. Just from depleting these stored energy stores, which again gives this sort of illusion of losing weight, which a lot of people take as a result, but then struggle and then binge, put everything back on, and find themselves right back at the start. Right, so yeah, it works. Yeah, you can maintain it, but it's got to take a lot of commitment and a lot of effort to maintain it, especially if you've got like a social life and your pals and stuff go out for dinner. It can play quite a part and quite stressful and things like that. It can be quite stressful. So like things to consider when you do cut out carbs, you've got that sort of I've put hangriness. You'll feel really foggy, you're tired, you're uneasy. Sometimes people find it really hard to not constantly concentrate and sit down and do a certain task. If you get this sort of like almost brain fog, you just constantly feel shit, you get headaches. Recovery can take a wee nosedive, so if you train you can have DOMs for quite a while and then just feel weak and not have any power. So again, like a big point in my head is if you cut out carbs, you're kind of missing out on a really good food group. There's a lot of stuff that are carbs that like everyone does love them. Even the people that say they don't, they definitely do. They're just too stubborn to admit it. And what I've seen this in the past, and I've been there to a certain degree, but not a terrible way. You can kind of encourage a bad relationship with food, in terms of you think of carbs as being bad, whereas they should be a very, very, very big part of your diet. Again, it kind of promotes a sort of guilty binges. So if you think of people who constantly eat clean Monday to Friday, they take their Tupperwares into work, and then you'll see their Facebook or Instagram account at the weekend and it's just full of shit. They order in pizzas, takeaways, and just that deficit they build up through the week and ruin it. So again, that's all down to cutting carbs out and not being inclusive through the week that's caused that binge, more or less. It could not be, but that's the reason in my head that things like that happen. Right, so is sugar really that bad? Nope. I'm off. Catches. Bye. That's basically all that needs to be said. However, we've got some more on it. This is Grant's favourite statistic, I think, in the whole wide world. Like, he totally asked me to put this in so he didn't feel left out. But yeah, basically, in the last 30 years, sugar, everyone's kind of like, oh, sugar, everyone's eating more sugar, therefore that's what caused the obesity epidemic, which is absolute nonsense. It's completely laughable. So like a study conducted in America over this, like you're talking 30 years, so it's pretty reliable in terms of the amount of stuff they took into consideration, and on average there was only about 400 calories per person consumed more, and I think it was something ridiculous like 5% of that, or 5 grams it could have been, of those 400 calories was sugar. So in terms of people putting weight on as a population, it's more down to consumption of excess calories, not eating sugar. It's probably one of the best points that somebody's brought up. Like that study's pretty conclusive in the fact that sugar's not the cause for obesity. and therefore all the health risks that have came with the obesity epidemic are more or less nothing to do with sugar. It's more pointing towards your sort of excess calories. Right, so again, a big part of that study that took into consideration was the complete shift in your day-to-day average job. It went from being semi-active, people on shipyards, people in factories doing stuff, lifting things, to sitting at an office, sitting in a desk, and not moving, just becoming like, again, developing injuries like lower back pains, shot through the roof, and that's all came from this big shift in employment rather than diet as well. So in terms of the obesity epidemic, it's nothing to do with sugar, really. It's more external circumstances as well as overconsumption of calories as a whole. Again, we hold glycogen in our muscles. Glycogen is more or less sugar. It's what our body breaks everything down to. So when you eat, it doesn't matter if you eat a complex carb or a sugar, it gets broken down to glycogen because that's what your body knows how to use. So that gets stored in our bodies. Again, these are rough figures. So it's like this is how people get a mass amount of weight loss at the start of cutting out sort of sugar and cutting out carbs. It's all these things joined together. They're depleting stores. Big thing about sugar, is it bad? I would definitely say no. If as an animal we store it next to our muscles, how can that be bad? Obviously, overconsumption of everything is bad in some sense. Right, so other places we hold it. We hold on our liver. You'll probably heard the people mention fructose all the time, saying, "Oh, you can't have fructose; it's bad for you. It'll kill you in the face." But it won't. Right, so we've even got it in our blood. It's well and truly been demonised, and it shouldn't. It's probably one of the most vital parts of our diet. It's why should they make up the majority of our diet? I would say roughly on average, around about 50, even 60% of your diet should be carbs. Mainly because here's a couple of the benefits. Like you can think clearly, your performance will shoot through the roof, your mood's more or less a lot more likely to be stable. In terms of bodily functions, work a lot better when you're inclusive of carbs, and it's a big part of your diet. Aids in muscle growth, lean tissue growth, lean tissue recovery, fat loss, strength. So it is really, that's the big question. Why would you cut them out? It's a wee bit stupid unless you were diagnosed with something. Unless it was some sort of proven medical reason, you shouldn't be really thinking about cutting something out completely. Again, compared to fat and the cavemen that eat low carb, high fat all the time, carbs are, as we've discussed previously, like less than half of the calories per gram than fat is. Therefore, it can lead to feeling more full, having more food, being more inclusive of things, being more inclusive of social situations. You can work certain things that low carb people can't fit into their diet. Therefore, in my opinion, it's better for fat loss, because the aim in any fat loss diet is to try and stay full as long as you can. And including carbs in your diet is a big way towards that. So again, curbing cravings, and by curbing cravings, I mean if you've got a wee, like if you're straight, like you really want a wee bit of chocolate, if you understand how nutrition works and you're able to look at it and say, this is how many carbs in it, this is how many carbs I've got left in a day, you can have that. Curbs a craving, and then at the weekend you don't really think about it. It's not a part of your head. It's as Brian was saying in one of the webinars as well, we've always got that feeling of when you're told you can't have something, you go home, or you can't have something, you go to the supermarket, you walk past it, you leave it there, you get to the house and you go, I fucking really want that. And it's a lot more inclusive if you do have carbs, and they play a huge part of your diet. Fibre as well. Fibre is a massive part of feeling full. aids in digestion as well. It all comes back to getting as much volume in as you can, and carbs definitely help you do that. So that's pretty much enough said on that. Right, so on to myths and stuff like that. The insulin one is it's rife in the fitness industry. Everyone that advocates a sort of low carb diet go, oh, you do it because you don't want insulin spiking. Insulin's the reason you gain fat. You want to keep your blood sugar level. If you're not diabetic, it doesn't really matter to an extent, as long as you're not smashing hundreds and hundreds. If it's pretty well balanced, it doesn't really matter. So again, these are a few statements that I've came across recently when I was, more or less today, I was looking through certain groups and certain people, and these are things that were said on other pages and groups and stuff. So like eating carbs leads to high insulin levels. It doesn't. Basically, insulin spikes after any meal. It's not just because of carbs, which some people believe. Again, other statements, things like you only store fat when you eat carbs, and then insulin spikes, therefore you store fat. That's again not true. You can still store fat when it's low, and it's because you're over consuming calories. It's because you've got too much energy going out in your body, and there's nothing going out, so it gets stored as fat. Simple. Insulin increases hunger, causing binges, so you shouldn't eat carbs. Insulin doesn't. It does the complete opposite. It's carbs that raise insulin, nothing else. Nope. Protein does. And nobody moans about that. So again, it's just one of these things that insulin will always spike after a meal. Lowering insulin will mean fat loss. Nope. Again, being in a calorie deficit will. The whole insulin argument should just be wiped off, because most of the people that talk about it, including myself, don't understand hormones to the level that they should be talking about it. But that is some facts there. Right. So another one, carbs after 6 p.m. get stored as fat. This is a big one, and it really drives me mental that people still say this. And it's usually people that do CrossFit and stuff. You can't have carbs before your bed, right? And they're doing the caveman diet. Cavemen didn't fucking have watches, did they? And they didn't go by time. So it makes no sense. Time's a made up thing. It's created by man. Your body doesn't work on time. It just does what it does. If it's tired, it sleeps. If it runs, it burns energy. Like, it's not running on a clock. So again, time doesn't dictate fat storage. Eating far too many calories does. Right, so carbs make you fat. No, they don't. Eating all the time does. Therefore, you should go on the sort of why your jaw shut diet, as Grant says. Low carb is the best way to lose weight. Like, somebody actually did say this. Like, this was on, what was it? It was some forum I was creeping about earlier on, looking for funny things. And they're like, you can only, like, it's the best way to lose weight. I don't see why people still go on about eating carbs, blah blah blah. Basically, yeah, the initial weight loss is really motivating. Maybe you lose like 1.5 kilos and you're like, yes, fucking, this is great. But it's mostly water loss. And after that, you can, if you're constantly training, like most of the people that do low carb diets are sucked into a lifestyle of really high intensity training. So you actually kind of promote muscle loss as well, which we don't want. So in the long term, there's no difference between that and being in a controlled calorie deficit with a lot of balance. It's next to no difference at all. Low carb's a lot like our caveman ancestors. That's we're evolved. We don't live in fucking caves anymore. We live in houses. We've evolved. We can process things that cavemen can't. We are in control of our food. We don't need to go out hunting. And I like carbs, so leave me alone. And we've got one more slide. The time old question: It's deca carb. It's not, it's protein. I think this is my favourite meme in the world, so I thought I'd just answer that question. Zara, do you have any questions about anything? Because if we don't, we can end there. Give me a wee yes or no. Anything carb related? Or any point you want me to kind of touch on again? Yes, no? Nope, cool. I'll leave it there then. Guys, if you're watching this on replay and you've got any questions, just put them in the wee comment section below and we'll either answer them there or we'll answer them at the start of the next webinar. Alright? If you don't want to post it on the page, just give me or Grant a wee message and we can answer it there. Alright? And that is us. Guten Tag.